When the voice of the Lord echoes through history, it is never just a whisper. It is a command that shakes the soul. He asks a question that pierces the heart. Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? This is not just a question for the prophet Isaiah. It is a question for every man and woman who longs to understand their purpose. And the answer recorded in Scripture still resounds today. Here am I, send me. This is where our journey begins. Because this video is not simply about ancient words written thousands of years ago. It is about how those same words speak directly into your life right now. If you ever felt overlooked, if you've ever wondered whether God truly sees you, then what you're about to hear will change the way you understand your calling, your strength, and your destiny. The Lord declares, I took you from the ends of the earth. From its farthest corners I called you. I said, you are my servant. I have chosen you and have not rejected you. Think about the weight of that declaration. The God who holds the universe in his hands is saying, you are chosen, you are not forgotten, and you are not rejected. And this is the foundation of everything we are going to explore together in this message. Because when you grasp that God himself has called you, then fear loses its grip, doubt begins to fade, and a new kind of courage begins to rise inside of you. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to see how God not only calls you, but also promises to strengthen you, defend you, and walk with you when enemies surround you. When God calls, he does not send you empty-handed. His voice is not only a command, it is also a covenant. Immediately after declaring that you are chosen, the Lord gives one of the most reassuring promises in all of Scripture. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Pause and let that truth settle for a moment. Fear is the great thief of destiny. Fear paralyzes. Fear convinces you that the giant are too strong, that the storm is too violent, that your weakness is too overwhelming. But here, God confronts fear directly and dismantles its power with his presence. He doesn't just say, be strong. He says, I will strengthen you. He doesn't just tell you, don't fall. He says, I will uphold you with my righteous hand. And notice what comes next. He speaks not only of encouragement, but also of victory. All who rage against you will surely be ashamed and disgraced. Those who oppose you will be as nothing and perish. Though you search for your enemies, you will not find them. In other words, your battles may be loud, your enemies may be real, but their power will vanish when compared to the one who stands at your side. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is a divine guarantee. The same God who split the Red Sea, who leveled the walls of Jericho, who silenced the lions in Daniel's den, is the God who promises to take hold of your right hand and whisper, do not fear, I will help you. And here is the unshakable truth. When God is the one holding you, no power on earth, no scheme of man, no darkness of hell can pull you away. You are not standing by your own strength. You are standing in his. Once you understand that God is your strength and your protector, the next revelation takes you even higher. He is sovereign, unmatched, and eternal. He declares with absolute authority, I am the first and I am the last. Apart from me, there is no God. This is not just theology, it is identity. It tells us that before your first breath was drawn, he was already there. And long after the last star in the sky has faded, he will still be reigning. Nations rise and fall. Kings and rulers come and go. But God remains unshaken, unchallenged, and unchanging. And he issues a challenge to the world. Who then is like me? Let him proclaim it. Let him declare what has happened since I established my ancient people and what is yet to come. The Lord is saying, if there is any rival, let them show their power. Let them unveil the future. Let them reveal mysteries hidden in time. But silence follows because no one else can. Only the God of Israel speaks from eternity into history, declaring both what has been and what will be. This truth is meant to anchor your soul. When storms hit your life, when uncertainty clouds your vision, you don't stand on shifting sand. You stand on the rock of the eternal God. He is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the one who writes the story of humanity and the story of your life. So when he says, do not tremble, do not be afraid, did I not proclaim this long ago? You are my witnesses. He is reminding you that your life is living evidence of his sovereignty. You are not an accident, not abandoned, not forgotten. You are part of his eternal plan, carried by the one who reigns without rival. A sovereign God is not distant. He is not sitting far away, watching history unfold. No, he steps into the paths of his people and makes the impossible possible. Listen to his promise. I will go before you and will level the mountains. I will break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron. I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places. so that you may know that I am the Lord, the God of Israel, who summons you by name. This is more than imagery. It is reality. Mountains represent the immovable obstacles in your life, the challenges that seem too high to climb. Gates of bronze and bars of iron represent systems of resistance, the forces that try to keep you locked out from opportunity, purpose, or freedom. And God is saying, I will shatter them. I will clear the way. But he doesn't stop at removing obstacles. He promises treasures hidden in secret places. These treasures are not always gold or silver. They are divine revelations, breakthroughs, doors of opportunity, connections, favor, wisdom, and peace that only God can uncover. He reveals what no human eye could see and what no human hand could reach. Notice also the personal touch. I summon you by name. This is not a general blessing. It is intimate. The creator of galaxies knows your name. He calls you specifically. And when he calls, he also equips, provides, and opens paths no enemy can close. Think of Israel's history. When they were trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army, God didn't just inspire them. He split the waters. When Joshua stood before the fortified walls of Jericho, God didn't just encourage him. He brought the walls crashing down. And when you face your own locked gates and heavy chains, he is still the God who breaks barriers and hands you treasures of victory. After showing himself as a God who clears the way and reveals treasures, the Lord goes further, declaring something that shakes our understanding of reality itself. I form the light and create darkness. I bring prosperity and create disaster. I, the Lord, do all these things. This is one of the most profound revelations in Scripture. It tells us that God is not a partial ruler. He does not simply govern the good and abandon the rest. No, he is sovereign over both light and darkness, over peace and turmoil, over life's victories and its storms. Everything, whether we understand it or not, rests under his authority. Why is this important? Because it means that nothing in your life is random. The blessings you celebrate, yes, they come from his hand, but even the trials, the valleys, the seasons of hardship are not outside of his control. They are allowed for a reason, woven into a larger plan that is preparing you, shaping you, and strengthening you. Think of Joseph, sold as a slave by his own brothers, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. To human eyes, his story looked like pure disaster. But God was at work in the darkness, positioning Joseph to one day rule in Egypt and save countless lives from famine. What men intended for evil, God transformed for good. This truth brings comfort and perspective. When light surrounds you, you give thanks. When darkness comes, you still trust, because the same God who authored the dawn also governs the night, and in both his purpose stands unshaken. So when you hear that he forms light and creates darkness, it is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to remind you that even in the most confusing seasons of your life, he is still Lord. He is not only the God of your mountaintops, but also the God of your valleys. There is a reason David could stand fearless while armies encamped against him. His confidence wasn't in weapons, strategies, or human alliances. It was anchored in this unshakable declaration. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Light here is not just brightness. It is clarity, direction, and hope. Darkness hides the path and breeds fear. But when God himself is your light, confusion disappears. You see the way forward because his presence illuminates the shadows around you. And salvation? It is not only deliverance from enemies. It is rescue from despair, redemption from sin, and restoration of identity. David's life was proof of this. From the sheepfolds of Bethlehem to the throne of Israel, he faced relentless opposition, giants who mocked him, kings who hunted him, and nations that rose against him. Yet his heart beat with unshaken confidence. Why? Because he knew that battles are not won by numbers, but by the presence of God. This is why he could say, though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Though war break out against me, even then I will be confident. That is not human courage. It is divine assurance. It is the kind of confidence that only comes when your trust is anchored in the eternal stronghold of the Lord. And here lies the heartbeat of David's soul. One thing I ask in the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord, and to seek him in his temple. Notice, his greatest desire was not victory, not wealth, not revenge. It was God himself. He knew that true strength is not found in outward triumph, but in inward communion with the living God. For David, the safest place in times of trouble was not behind fortified walls, but in the shelter of God's presence. And that same presence is offered to you. He hides you in his dwelling, sets you upon a rock, and becomes a fortress of your soul. If there is one image in Scripture that has comforted hearts across centuries, it is this: "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." These words are not just poetry. They are a declaration of absolute trust. To call God your shepherd is to admit two things at once: that you are his sheep, dependent, vulnerable, and in need of guidance, and that he is the one who never fails to provide, protect, and lead. Think of what a shepherd does. He leads his flock to green pastures when they are weary. He guides them beside still waters when they are thirsty. He defends them from wolves in the night, and he knows each one by name. That is the picture David paints of God's care. It is not distant, it is personal. He makes you lie down and rest. He restores your soul when it feels crushed. He directs you along paths of righteousness, not because you always deserve it, but because his name is faithful. And then comes a line that has carried generations through their darkest nights. "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Notice what David says. He does not camp in the valley. He walks through it. Valleys are temporary. Shadows are not the final reality. Death may threaten, but it does not define. The shepherd's presence changes everything. His rod defends, his staff guides, and his closeness brings courage where fear once ruled. But the promise does not stop at survival. It overflows into abundance. "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows." This is more than protection. It is victory celebrated while enemies watch powerless. The shepherd does not only bring you through danger, he blesses you beyond measure, covering your head with oil and filling your cup until it runs over. And the final assurance is eternal. "Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." This is not wishful thinking. It is destiny. His goodness does not just meet you occasionally. It pursues you daily. His love does not fade with time. It accompanies you until your final breath and beyond. So when you call him shepherd, you are declaring that your life is not left to chance. You are under the care of the one who never abandons his flock. There are moments in life when opposition feels overwhelming, when it seems as though you are surrounded on every side. This is exactly the experience described in the Psalms. "All the nations surrounded me, but in the name of the Lord I cut them down. They swarmed around me like bees, but they were consumed as quickly as burning thorns." The imagery is vivid: an army encircling you, the sting of enemies pressing in like a relentless swarm, the heat of threats rising like flames. And yet, the psalmist declares victory, not because of his own strength, but in the name of the Lord. This is the key. Battles are not won in human wisdom or political alliances. They are won when God himself becomes your refuge and your banner. That is why he also says, "It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in humans. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in princes." Think about that. Human power is limited. Leaders rise and fall. Even the strongest promises can be broken. But when you take refuge in the Lord, you are leaning on the one who cannot fail, whose word cannot return empty, whose protection is eternal. The psalmist's words remind us of something critical. Being surrounded does not mean being defeated. Nations may press in, enemies may threaten, fear may whisper that this is the end. But the presence of God turns the tide. He is a shield that lifts you up when arrows fly. He is the fortress that cannot be breached. And when you are pushed back, about to fall, he is the hand that steadies you, the strength that restores you, the salvation that lifts you to victory. This is why the psalmist can proclaim with confidence, "The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation." These are not the words of someone who escaped battle. They are the words of someone who found God in the battle. Victory is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of the Almighty in the midst of struggle. And this is the same promise for you today. The battles around you may be many, but the victory within you comes from the Lord. After walking through valleys, facing armies, and enduring trials, the psalmist reaches a final declaration that seals everything with unshakable confidence. "The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation." Strength here is not just physical power. It is inner endurance, the ability to keep standing when the weight of life tries to crush you. Defense is not just protection. It is a shield that absorbs the blows meant to destroy you. And salvation is not just rescue from danger. It is complete deliverance, body and soul, past and future. This progression is important. First, God becomes your strength. He sustains you in the battle. Then, he becomes your defense. He protects you from the weapons aimed at your downfall. Finally, he becomes your salvation. He doesn't just help you survive. He gives you ultimate victory and eternal security. This is the testimony of countless men and women throughout Scripture. Noah, delivered through the flood. Moses, carried through the wilderness. David, lifted from shepherd's field to throne. Esther, preserved in the face of annihilation. Daniel, spared in the lion's den. Paul, sustained through persecution. And at the center of it all, Christ himself, who triumphed over death, making salvation not only a promise but reality. And now that same God extends the same truth to you. Your strength may fail, but his strength never does. Your defenses may crumble, but his shield cannot be pierced. Your efforts to save yourself may fall short, but his salvation is eternal. This is why fear loses its grip, why despair is silenced, and why hope cannot be extinguished. Because the one who called you is the same one who strengthens you, defends you, and saves you forever. From the moment the Lord asked, "Whom shall I send?" to the promise, "The Lord is my strength and my salvation." We have walked through a divine journey, a journey that begins with a call, continues with protection, flows into revelation, and culminates in eternal assurance. This is a heartbeat message. You are chosen, you are not forgotten, and you are carried by a God who cannot fail. He is the first and the last, the one who breaks barriers, the shepherd who restores your soul, the refuge in battle, and the salvation that secures your eternity. Every valley, every mountain, every enemy, none of them stand a chance against the one who holds you in his righteous right hand. And here's the beauty. This is not just Israel's story, not just David's story, not just the prophet's story. It is your story. The same God who split seas, crushed walls, and silenced lions is the same God who whispers to you right now, "Do not fear, for I am with you." So as you carry these words into your own life, remember, strength is not found in your own hands, but in his. Salvation is not earned, it is given, and victory is not a dream. It is a promise sealed by the one who reigns forever. If this message spoke to your heart, I invite you to support this channel by giving a like and subscribing, so you never miss these powerful reminders of God's truth. And don't stop here. There's another video right now on your screen that will take you even deeper into the Word. Click on it, keep watching, and let God's presence continue to strengthen your life. May the Lord bless you, keep you, and guide your steps. Until next time, stay strong in his Word, and never forget, you are chosen.